Cool. Thank you for tuning. I'm Pasha Paro. It's YNet 7. Thank you for tuning the replay. So today, right, we're actually going to be discussing the title of this episode is A Title is the Cup. You are the coffee. All right. So thank you for spending a little time with me. We're gonna go ahead and do this. I got a short story, it's just one page. We'll be through it in like 2 minutes. I think this is going to help tie together what we were talking about last video with the whole cult and the conscious map, right? And it kind of alludes to why I don't do titles, you know what I'm saying? But let's get into this story real quick. It's called The Ceramic Cup. It's only one page. And if you don't know already, I mentioned several times, go pick up this book, Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. All right, so it says, I heard a story about a former Undersecretary of Defense who gave a speech at a large conference. He took his place on stage and began talking, sharing his prepared remarks with the audience. He paused to take a sip of his coffee from a styrofoam cup he brought with him on stage. He took another sip, looked down at the cup, and smiled. You know, he said, interrupting his own speech, I spoke here last year. I presented at the same conference on the same stage, but last year I was still an undersecretary. He said, I flew here in business class, and when I landed, there was someone waiting for me at the airport to take me to my hotel. Upon arriving at my hotel, he continued, there was someone else waiting for me. They had already checked me into the hotel, so they handed me my key and escorted me up to my room. The next morning, I came down. Again, there was someone waiting for me in the lobby to drive me to the same venue that we are in today. I was taken through a back entrance, shown to the green room, and handed a cup of coffee in a beautiful ceramic cup. But this year, as I stand here to speak to you, I am no longer the undersecretary. He continued, I flew here in coach class, and when I arrived at the airport yesterday, there was no one there to meet me. I took a taxi to the hotel, and when I got there, I checked myself in and went by myself to my room. This morning, I came down to the lobby and caught another taxi to come here. I came in the front door, found my way backstage. Once there, I asked one of the techs if there was any coffee. He pointed to a coffee machine on a table against the wall. So I walked over, poured myself a cup of coffee into this here styrofoam cup. He said as he raised the cup to show the audience, right? It occurs to me, he continued, the ceramic cup they gave me last year, it was never meant for me at all. It was meant for the position I held. I deserve a styrofoam cup. Now, if you're on my Instagram, Pasha Paro, all pushed together, no space, you can actually take a look at that, read it on the picture, or just pick up the book. It's a great book. I recommend it. Now, some of y'all are gonna look at that story, and you're gonna feel like, wow, inspiring. It's a pretty humble guy. Excuse me, pretty humble guy. He was up here, undersecretary. You know, he falls off. He's down here now, or however you want to describe that. He's no longer undersecretary. He's humble. He's coming in. He's still doing the work. He accepted a styrofoam cup. Or some of y'all might ask, what's wrong with society that when he came the first time, he gets the ceramic cup, and when he comes the next time, he gets a styrofoam cup? You know, he got the beautiful ceramic mug, whatever, because he was undersecretary. Now, what I want to point out is this is one of the main problems I see with titles. Before I do that, let's say right up here, I'm not going to go through the whole spill where we break down the etymology of worship and homage. But if you want that information, just watch my prior video where we broke down the etymology of cult and went into the worship and homage part 2. Okay. So, but what cult is worship or homage. So when he came with the title, it was like part of the worship, or the homage was, oh, we offer you coffee in this ceramic cup. It's so beautiful. Huh? You know, we'll escort you. We'll take you backstage, blah, 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 blah. Right? All because of the title. Now, see, the interesting thing with that is when you recognize your self-worth, right? This is another image from the last video. When you're up here, and you're into self-realization. Hold on, let me get it. There you go. When you're up here in self-realization, see, the interesting about that story is his worth, his self-value, his worth didn't change. Actually, it might have increased over the time. I mean, he went from being undersecretary to like finishing that term, whatever that was, and then he still had more experience and knowledge and stuff that might have happened in his life since then in that year's time. So if anything, his value increased. Now, once you become aware of your self-worth, right? You're up in this area here. The interesting thing was, even though his worth did not change, the perception of his value changed. Apparently, when he didn't have the title, even though they invited him back, so you can tell that his worth either remained the same or grew because they still invited him back, because apparently his value was still there, but the title is what gets you the ceramic cup. Now, see, that's the same thing. I mean, you've had issues in your own life where you've gone through that too, Nagasaki. You see, it might be your ex, it might be your job, it might be you were spending a couple G's a month taking care of your kids, and then you couldn't do it no more, and then they look at you different, right? In some cases. Now, take a moment in the comments below and give an example of how you see how that works into society, right? Okay? Because your value didn't change, your self-worth didn't change, your title might have. And because of that, the cult around you, their perception of you changed. Okay? And what that all boils down to is what you tuned into over here. What frequency are you on? Okay? I think that's what it boils down to. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Right? So in the meantime, thank you for tuning. This is YNet7. I'm Pasha Pablo. And what I want you to do is not worry about the cup. I mean, you might have paid more attention to this video if I had on a nice suit, which y'all consider a nice suit. Maybe if I had on some super name brand shit, or respect if you one of the ones that's watching it because I'm just sitting here in a t-shirt with my complimentary Carolina Panthers memorabilia. You see what I'm saying? Maybe that's part of why you tuned in and got this far with the video. Maybe somebody else would have got this far if I had on a suit. See, but what's important is that's the cup. That's the presentation. That's the homage or part of y'all celebratory worship connection, emotional attachment shit. What I want you to realize when you're in these situations is you're not the cup. The title is the cup, and you are the coffee. I want you to be the best damn coffee you can be. YNet7, Pasha Paro, thank you for tuning.